Greetings, everybody! TPrower once again. This has been a very busy week for movie and TV lovers, hasn't it? By the time of this recording, Season 2 of The Owl House just ended. The Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries aired on Disney+. Haven't really looked into it myself yet, but I did see the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie. Sonic 2 was released on digital and Paramount+. The first issue of the MLP G5 comic was released, as was the G5 video game. And now, we're shifting gears from the 2D of Tell Your Tale back to 3D, as we take a look at Chapter 1 of the Netflix series, My Little Pony, Make Your Mark. A lot of people have been confused about the naming behind this, wondering if it's meant to be a special or a TV show. Well, the answer is both. Make Your Mark has made its official debut with a special, but it's also going to be a show. Only 8 episodes have been confirmed, but I wonder if that means for this season alone, or if they have anything else planned for it. I sure hope so. In any case, this special was written by a well-recognized name for G4 fans, Jillian Barrow, and we have our Tell Your Tale cast reprising their roles. Jenna Warren as Sunny Starscout, Anasani as Izzy Moonbow, J.J. Gerber as Hitch Trailblazer, A.J. Bridle as Pip Petals, and Maitreyi Ramakrishnan as Zip Storm. We've also got Amanda Martinez as Queen Haven, Kimberly Ann Trong as Posey Bloom, Samantha Bielansky as Jazz Hooves, and Jonathan Tan as Rocky. With the latest Tell Your Tale episode being a direct follow-up to the events of Chapter 1 of Make Your Mark, this confirms that the two series do coincide with each other to some degree, which is pretty neat. Since Tell Your Tale is geared more towards comedy, and Make Your Mark is more about adventure, it'll be interesting to see what other story elements and continuity they share down the line. There's also been quite a bit of buzz from previews about one new face joining our cast, but we'll get to that later. For now, we've got a special to review, so, without further ado, let's get to it! We open with her coolness, aka Zip, infiltrating the Zephyr Heights castle in order to grab her trendinesses, aka Pip's, special golden microphone, all without being seen. You heard her in the movie. She can be pretty sneaky when she wants to be. She does give us a little time to appreciate an adorable portrait of Queen Haven and the two sisters when they were foals. And I thought the flashback in Zip's flight school and the foes and sisters take flight were diabetes-inducing. Her mission accomplished, she makes her way back to Maritime Bay during the opening credits, taking time to stop 2 young Pegasi from crash landing along the way, before rejoining her friends. So, why did Zip need to sneak into her own home to get Pip's microphone? Because she didn't want to get dragged into a princess lesson from her mother, something that Pip herself concedes is a fair point. It turns out the microphone's actually for Sunny, as Pip films are giving a live message all across Equestria, from Maritime Bay to Bridlewood to Zephyr Heights. Her trendiness does like to give her friends a boost to her star power, after all. It's been a few months since the events of the movie, ever since the main 5 reunited the Unity Crystals and returned magic all across Equestria. Ponies are able to live and visit wherever they want now, instead of staying secluded in their own communities. And Pegasi and Unicorns are flying and using magic freely now. Though Sunny has been having trouble getting her alicorn form to work properly. But that's not all. The Maritime Bay Day Festival is fast approaching. A day normally centered around Earth Point traditions, fun and games, and local cuisine, but which can now be enjoyed by Unicorns and Pegasi as well. Just seeing Sunny get more and more comfortable with being on camera for this announcement is heartwarming in itself. Atta girl, sunshine. The stream is cut short as a seagull steals Pip's phone, and a frantic chase takes him all the way out into the country, where Izzy experiences an odd hiccup in her magic, and, while securing Pip's phone, ends up messing up Posey's flower bed. Those who've been keeping up with Tell Your Tale already know Posey, either as the pony who shares Fluttershy's color scheme and the name of her G1 ancestor, or as the pony who apparently thought Pip's main melody salon was only 3-star worthy. Well, She wastes no time cementing herself as antagonistic in this special, ranting about how life was better when magic was gone, wishing it had never come back at all, especially since Earth ponies don't have magic like unicorns or Pegasi do. Honestly, her having this mindset isn't too difficult to believe, considering the last time we saw her in Tell Your Tale, her movie-going experience was soured thanks to Izzy and Senor Butterscotch. It's still a harsh blow to the feeling of harmony and closeness that the main five have been working to foster and keep strong. Still, Izzy uses her magic to fix Posy's flowers and her mailbox, while Sunny promises to show Posy, as well as other ponies doubtful about magic, how special and wonderful it can be. The group returns to the Crystal Bright House, where Izzy takes Pip aside to show her what she's been working on. She's still keeping up with her unicycling and arts and crafts projects, naturally. But what's even better is that she managed to find the lantern Argyle had made for Sunny. The very same lantern that housed the Earth Pony crystal. Izzy plans to fix it up and give it to Sunny as a present for Maritime Bay Day, and asks Pip to keep it a secret. You're such a thoughtful sweetheart, Izzy Bell. Later, while the group's making pizza, they talk about what's been going on lately. Hitch suggests that Posy might simply be jealous because Earth ponies have never had magic of their own, and how he wishes he could levitate things the way unicorns do, though perhaps with a bit more finesse and concentration than Izzy, as she drops an uncooked pizza on her head. Meantime, Sunny confesses to Zip that her alicorn form has been channeling itself spontaneously, and with increasing frequency. She doesn't want other ponies to feel like magic is anything to be afraid of, and wants to show them how magic can be good for every pony, and add some fun to their lives. Hard to argue against that, when Izzy can use her magic to cut a big pizza into perfect slices. She's got genuine talent. Still, Sunny proposes using Maritime Bay Day as a chance to show off what magic can do, and give ponies a chance to see that they don't need to be afraid of it. An idea that her friends are fully on board with. But at that moment, Zip receives a call from Queen Haven, who, after reminding her how little contact she's had with her lately, drops a bombshell. She wants Zip to return to Zephyr Heights, so that she can start preparing for the day she becomes queen herself. As Pip sell into running Main Melody, and as every pony watching her through her live streams, her poshness feels that Zip doesn't need to worry about watching her anymore. Zip manages to skate over the topic by saying she still needs to help get things ready for Maritime Bay Day. But once she hangs up, Sunny arrives to lend an ear to listen to her woes. Zip confesses that she feels like she doesn't know what she's meant to do. From her point of view, all she knows how to do is fly and do stunts, and she wonders if she really should just return to Zephyr Heights to become a true princess. Sunny implores her to at least wait until Maritime Bay Day, then she can decide. Zip agrees, but just as Sunny leaves, 2 Pegasi suddenly drop out of the sky, then get right back to flying again, puzzling her coolness. Sunny, Izzy, and Pip get ready to add some unicorn and Pegasus flair to decorating, like making a ribbon wreath out of teaspoons. But Zip takes her leave, declining the offers to assist with preparations, and worrying her friends. Still, the idea that Zip and Pip used to come up with song lyrics together is just adorable. I'm sure there'll be a fic that uses that somewhere down the line. Meanwhile, Hitch and his animal friends are getting ready for another day at the sheriff's office. With Sprout still missing, and yes, I know he's in the game, but I haven't looked far enough into it to see if he explains where he's been, the 2 seagulls and the crab that follow Hitch around are his new deputies. And here I was thinking Zip would end up becoming his new deputy. Oh well, this is still adorable. Speaking of Zip, she drops by and begins to ask Hitch if he's noticed anything weird, but she quickly drops the subject. Hitch just thinks she's bored, and offers her the chance to hang around with him, an idea that doesn't really appeal to her. I don't know why. She loves teasing him. And hey, I'd totally be down for trying fries from 3 different restaurants and choosing the best. However, Hitch is soon called away for an emergency down at the beach, and Zip takes that as her cue to leave. Hitch and his new deputies head down to the beach, where they see an argument between a young Earth pony and a unicorn, the former accusing the latter of deliberately messing up their sandcastle and refusing to believe it was an accident. Zip, watching from afar, first avoids another call from her mother, then takes down a voice memo of her observations, clearly aiming to get to the bottom of these strange happenings herself. She gets a brief scare when her own flight magic glitches out, and she notices the same thing happening to the Bright House's beacon. She rushes back, managing to skip out and join the others for a trip into town, and goes to inspect the Unity crystals, ready to jot down any abnormalities she sees the moment they happen. Unable to find a way to resolve the sandcastle dispute peacefully, Hitch decides to take a third option and ducks out. And it's there that he comes across a strange egg in the sand, unlike any he's ever seen. He saves it from being washed away, and takes it back to his office to start incubating it in his cupboard. But is interrupted by Posey, coming in to complain about an odd incident where she was temporarily stuck to the ground, and believing it to be a unicorn prank. She's not the only one coming by with complaints, however. Either that, or Hitch is lax in answering them. Whatever the case, he secretly entrusts one of his seagull deputies with guarding the egg while he heads off to the Bright House. Back with the girls, Sunny and Izzy are busy making new treats for Bay Day, while Pip's working on a new anthem to sing at the celebration. She might not have all the lyrics down yet, but man does she have a melodious singing voice. Hitch arrives just in time to hear her tune and sample Izzy's magically delicious Glimmerberry tarts. As for Zip, she spent 5 whole hours watching the crystals and seeing nothing. Girl's got a lot of dedication to last that long, doing what basically amounts to watching paint dry. But as she starts to wonder if she actually saw anything, something finally happens. The harmony between her friends and her sister downstairs reaches up to the Unity crystals, causing them to glow brighter and reveal green glowing vine shapes on the walls. Flabbergasted, Zip rushes downstairs to get the others to see, but by the time they reach the top, the vines are gone. She tells the others about what she's been trying to uncover about the magic, but no pony else has noticed it glitching the way she has, while Hitch makes up an excuse to head back to the sheriff's office. Not even Sunny's willing to believe what she's been seeing, even when reminded of her own problems with her alicorn form. She simply chalks it down to being too wrapped up with preparations for Bay Day, but it feels more like she's unwilling to admit anything could be wrong. Honestly, it reminds me of Encanto, when Mirabelle saw the cracks in Casita, but no one took her seriously at first. Undaunted, Zip continues her investigation, only to be interrupted by another call from Queen Haven, announcing that she plans to attend Bay Day in person, something her coolness could very much do without. While looking around for anything suspicious to note down, she spies Hitch sneakily dragging a bag of sand to the sheriff's office. She follows him, just in time to catch him in the act of making the egg cozy, and even preparing to tell it a story. While she still engages in some adorable banter with Hitch, she promises not to spill his secret, but the moment's interrupted when Pip summons them urgently via text. For what, you may ask? Some R&R in the midst of their preparations, so she booked them all makeovers at Main Melody. But one thing Zip wants just as little as a visit from her mother. In spite of her irritation, she admits how proud she is of Pip for opening up her own salon/karaoke bar, and apologizes for her preoccupied behavior. But when she starts on about the crystals again, Pip just thinks she's worrying too much, and decides that what her paranoid sister needs is a pep-up song. So she, Jazz, and Rocky break out into a short and catchy little number about not letting your worries get to you, called Everything Is Gonna Be Okay, which enthuses everyone except the pony it's meant for. Zip tries once again to appeal to her friends, expressing her worry about magic disappearing again, and how it'd be their fault if they let it happen. But before they can even begin to wonder what she's talking about, they're interrupted by another mishap. Windy the Pegasus falling on top of other ponies mid-flight. Right on cue, Posey appears to rant about the problems magic has been causing, garnering support from her fellow Earth ponies, and demanding that Bay Day be magic-free. Also right on cue, an ominous storm comes rolling in, spooking them all. Concerned, Sunny and the others head back to the Bright House, where Zip reveals her findings. The glitches in the magic are caused by the crystals, which, in turn, are powered by ponies. To prove her point, she riles up Pip, confessing that she framed her for the heinous crime of stealing their mother's chocolate-dipped cherries when they were foals, and then mocking karaoke. Izzy steps in to defend Pip, Sunny tries to defuse the situation, Hitch patronizes Sunny for being huffy, and all this causes the magic to glitch again, and the others are finally able to see that Zip was telling the truth. Disharmony between ponies causes the magic to malfunction, resulting in the mishaps and the change in the weather they all just witnessed. Although now, instead of the threat of Wendigos and endless winter, it's a bad thunderstorm. Now, bear in mind, I don't think this means that ponies can never ever be angry or upset about anything. That's ridiculous. Those are perfectly natural emotions, as long as you're mindful of how you use them. What I see this as is that ponies who harbor ill feelings toward each other, reviving the prejudices that kept them apart for so long, allowing themselves to be consumed by petty squabbling, is what causes the magic to weaken, which, as Sunny points out, may have something to do with why the crystals were separated in the first place, or why she can't control her alicorn form. Whatever the case, if they're going to find an answer, they need to get every pony back in harmony again, which means moving forward with Bay Day and making it as fun and full of harmony as possible. The day of the festival dawns at last, with Izzy as excited as a kid on Christmas, or a full-on heartswarming. And before they all leave, she gives Sunny the repaired lantern. Although it looks different to how we remember it, Sunny still recognizes it, and is very grateful for the effort Izzy put into restoring it. With a little magic, anything is possible, which is exactly what Sunny hopes will make Maritime Bay Day memorable for all, and will fix what's going on with the magic. It's an overcast day at the festival, and while ponies do attend, including Queen Haven, or, as Izzy calls her, her majesticness. Looks like I'm not the only one who comes up with royal nicknames. Zoom Zephyrwing and Thunder, along with Cloudpuff, the mood isn't exactly cheery. The unicycled reeds are treated as an insult to the traditional ribbon reeds, Windy's sandcastle is deemed unfairly built due to flight, and the unicorn treats don't appeal too well to Earth Pony palates. Meantime, the storm gets worse and worse, as do the magical glitches, as we see not only wings fizzling out, but Earth Pony hooves getting mysteriously glued to the ground. The main five try one last effort to salvage the event, Pip's new anthem, but while she takes her place on stage with confidence, she's unfairly called out by ponies who want to hear the old anthem, and the storm gets even worse, so much so that the Earth Pony crystal actually develops a crack in it. Sunny tries to appeal to the Earth Ponies in the crowd, trying to show them that magic isn't anything to be afraid of, harkening back to her appeals in the movie that fell on deaf ears. But she's cut off as the storm worsens. Hitch rushes back to the sheriff's office to save the egg, while a lightning strike opens a gaping abyss in the ground. Every pony tries to flee, but the Earth Ponies find themselves stuck in place, with the unicorns and Pegasi unable to counter it with their own magic, as the void grows wider and wider. Posey and Windy are soon sucked in, and Sunny's determined to rescue them, alicorn magic or no. When Izzy proclaims she's not doing it alone, it gives Zip an idea. They can restore the harmony between each other by working together, rather than apart. She encourages the unicorns and Pegasi to free the Earth Ponies, which they do, undoing the binding on their hooves. Izzy hands Sunny the lantern to see in the void, but another glitch makes her drop it, and Sunny jumps in after it. And what happens then? Well, from my view, I'd say, Izzy's thoughtful gift to Sunny made new magic that day. holding the restored lantern of her beloved father, a symbol of his love and labor towards his dream of bringing ponies back together again, combined with her resolve to save and protect her fellow ponies, sparks magic within Sunny and the lantern itself, granting her her alicorn form once again. She catches up to Posey and Windy and grabs them in a magic bubble, saving them and sending them back to the surface. Sunny soon follows, sending a rainbow of magic straight to the Bright House and closing the void. The rainbow reunites the vines Zip saw, restores the crystals, and sends a burst of magic from them, sending those vines all the way into Maritime Bay, enchanting the Earth Pony's hooves, and suddenly granting them their own brand of magic. Specifically, nature-based magic, being able to grow plants, and, in Hitch's case, understanding animal language. He truly has become Fluttershy's successor. When I saw this, I knew Applegeek would be thrilled, as he's maintained that Earth Ponies have always been hinted to have their own kind of magic. Celestia herself brought up very briefly in the Season 4 finale, and it's usually always been the Earth Ponies who've tended to crops and plants, though it's never really shown off as blatantly as this. It makes total sense for Earth Ponies, being the closest to agriculture and nature, to have a special kind of magic centered around plants and animals. As Zip says, working together creates new kinds of magic. Sunny apologizes for not believing Zip before, and for being too caught up in her own worries to listen, and of course Zip forgives her. Queen Haven then approaches to take Zip home, but Zip refuses to leave her friends behind. She wants to figure out more about magic and about herself before she's ready to accept her place on the throne. She's finally realized what she wants to do with her life. With her keen observational skills and determination to find out the truth behind the magic glitching, she's turned out to be quite the investigator. Detective Zip Storm. It has a nice ring to it. Queen Haven fully approves of her daughter's choice. Even agrees to just call her Zip more from now on, instead of a fancy title like her full name, Zephyrina. It's sweet seeing these two growing close again, when we've seen how distant they were in the movie. And then? Well, remember that new face I brought before? Well, here he is! The egg hatches to reveal a baby dragon, which, according to Sunny, haven't been seen in Equestria for generations. He instantly imprints on Hitch while the girls coo over him, cementing Hitch's place as the adoptive papa of a baby dragon. They don't mention his name until the credits, but this little guy's name is Sparky Sparkeroni, or Sparky for short. Also, it seems that dragons have evolved over the generations, as they're now born with wings, without needing to undergo the molts. Wonder how our dragon friends from G4 would think about that. Posey also apologizes, admitting that she felt left out seeing unicorns and Pegasi able to use magic, while Earth Ponies previously couldn't. Sunny promises to ensure no pony feels left out ever again, and Pip invites Posey to sing her new anthem with her on stage. We unfortunately don't get to hear it ourselves, but it's still sweet to see Posey make a turnaround, which is more than can be said for Sprout in the movie. But, while not quite the end, we do get another bombshell lobbed at us. Everything going on in Maritime Bay has been monitored from an unknown location. By who, you ask? By a mysterious, shadowy alicorn, and a pony who appears to be her personal attendant. She doesn't look familiar, and Flurry Heart's birth proved that ponies can be born alicorns instead of simply having it granted. But she apparently believes that the magic of the Uni crystals belongs to her, and she intends to take it back now that magic is fully restored. Just who is this enigmatic, sinister onlooker? Back in the Bright House, Zip's just finishing setting up what seems to be her detective's workspace, now she's staying in Maritime Bay for good. She's got her work cut out for her, as there are a lot of questions that need answers. Why does Sunny's alicorn magic go away? Why can Hitch understand animals except for his new adoptive son? Where did magic come from? Who made the crystals? Why were they separated? Why didn't Earth Ponies have magic before? It's a lot to figure out, but one thing's for sure, no matter what, the main five will get through any challenge together. Hoof to heart. And that, my friends, was our first look at My Little Pony: Make Your Mark. I'll admit that this special had a tough act to follow, being another 3D G5 production like the movie. Opinions are still mixed about Tell Your Tale in its 2D style, but I've personally still been enjoying it for its cute and quirky charm. So, how does this special stack up? Well, of course, it's unfair to compare its animation style with the movies. Let's face it, the movie had a gorgeous presentation with smooth and vibrant animation, whereas the animation in this is a bit less so. Again, an unfair comparison, and I feel like we were spoiled in the animation quality of the movie to expect Make Your Marks to be the exact same. It should be judged on its own merits. It's very close, though, and while there are some animation oddities here and there, like Jazz's disappearing ears, the ponies themselves are still very expressive. You can see little extra details that add to it, like the movement of their ears, or even an occasional wag of the tail. The more distinct fur and feather detailing is also still present, so it still doesn't look bad in and of itself. The story was your basic public celebration plot, blended with mystery as Zip investigates, and a feeling of suspense over magic flickering, affecting ponies and the environment when it goes haywire. It also sets up for future events with some interesting new questions, most of which were posed by the main five themselves, and ones we're left to wonder ourselves, like who the mystery Alicorn is, and what connection she has to the Unity crystals. Even though the movie's cast members were all perfect for their roles, the new voice actors for Tell Your Tale and Make Your Mark have really grown on me, and to me, they fit the ponies they're voicing quite well. I know other people are still getting used to the change, and I won't hold it against them if they prefer the movie voices. I'm just saying to give the new VAs a fair chance is all. The main five were all as endearing and lovable as ever. Zip was pretty much the star of this one, as her efforts to uncover the truth about what was going on with the magic, trying to get her friends to believe what she found, and finding a purpose beyond being an heir to the throne took up the major plot thread. Again, I wonder if she might end up being Hitch's new deputy, but I like the idea of her being an official detective. Sunny's still trying to get a handle on how her Alicorn form works, and understanding magic itself, but she's also still working hard to foster goodwill and harmony between every pony, just as she and Argyle promised they would. She may have come across as a bit insensitive by not believing Zip at first, but again, it felt more like she just didn't want to admit anything could be wrong, after all she went through to bring ponies back together again. Plus, she still tried to be there for Zip, and reassure her that she can still discover what she's meant to do. That's what Sunshine does best. Bring out the best in other ponies. Izzy's as cute and bouncy as ever. However, while her energy's dialed up a bit in Tell Your Tale, her randomness feels a bit more toned down here, which some may argue is more like how she was in the movie. Plus, her restoring Argyle's old lantern was not only a very thoughtful gesture, but also instrumental in saving the day. That's my Isabelle. Pip's really grown on me since the movie, and I already liked her a lot. Some may argue there's not much about her beyond being a social media star, but that's simply where she excels the best. And even then, she uses that talent to better her friends just as much as herself. She is far from selfish and shallow. She's still a cute, sweet, very talented pony. Far more approachable than the usual stereotype of quote-unquote influencers. And I also love her voice when she gets musical. As for Hitch, he had his own cute mini-arc about finding and taking care of the first dragon egg seen in years. And he's now the adoptive father of a new baby dragon. Papa Sheriff Hitch. The fact that he's able to talk to animals now may make him look too similar to Fluttershy, but at least it was a talent he was only recently granted, not something he always had. It's also adorable how his animal friends are now his deputies. I'll also be interested to see what the show does with Sparky going forward, if he'll appear and tell your tale, or if he's exclusive to Make Your Mark. As for the side characters, I really appreciate Queen Haven respecting Zip's decision to stay in Maritime Bay as a detective, showing once again how reasonable she is as both a monarch and a mother. Wendy's currently one of my favorite named background ponies in G5, so I'm glad to see her appear and Make Your Mark after meeting her and tell your tale. I know Cobalt's a fan of jazz himself. As for Posey, while it was surprising, but not unexpected in hindsight, to see her as an antagonist, and while she kinda copied Sprout and Phyllis's xenophobic attitudes, she still came around in the end when she realized how important it was for ponies to be together again, and especially when she and her fellow Earth ponies were granted magic of their own. All in all, this was a fun and cute special, and a nice introduction to Make Your Mark. As I said, now we know that both shows share some levels of continuity with each other. It'll be interesting to see how that's reflected going forward, and hopefully get some answers to the burning questions we've been left with soon enough. Well, folks, until next time, see ya!